Hello everybody. Today I've got a fairly simple one for us to do. We're going to be determining the minimum inhibitory concentration, or the MIC, of ampicillin against E. coli. So to do that, you're going to need a pure culture or a suspension of your test bacterium, a plate containing general growth medium. In this case, we're going to use TSA, and of course you're going to need your mice strip, your minimum inhibitory concentration evaluation strip. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a lawn of bacteria. And to do that, I'm just going to spread plate 100 mils of my E. coli suspension, or my E. coli culture rather, onto my plate. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to take the mice strip here out of the packaging, and we're going to simply apply it to the plate using sterile tweezers, okay? So it's the same as when you take anything sterile out of the package. You always want to make sure that you're getting it from the right end. So in this case, you've got these indicators here that show you that you're taking it from the right end. And it's very important here because, as you can see, one end of the strip has a logo on it, and that's the end that you want to touch because that part of the strip doesn't have any antibiotic on it, unlike the rest of the strip, which contains antibiotic in gradient from a high concentration here down to a low concentration at the end of the strip. So we're going to pull out our strip with our sterile tweezers that I've had dipped in ethanol. Just going to flame those off. And then remove the strip from the packaging, and you just want to lay it down about center of the plate, like that. Very careful that you don't form any air bubbles because you want the strip to lay flat against the plate. So if it's sticking up in any places, you just want to very carefully pat it down with a tweezer so that it lays flat. And those can just go back into the ethanol afterwards. And the other important thing to keep in mind here is that you want to have it so that the numbers are facing up when you apply the MIC strip to the plate to make it easier to read. So what's going to happen now that the MIC strip has been placed onto the plate is it contains ampicillin, as I said, in a concentration gradient, and the ampicillin is going to diffuse throughout the medium over the next 24 hours and create a concentration gradient in the medium. What that's going to do is it will inhibit the bacteria from growing around the strip up to a point where the concentration gradient diminishes down below the MIC. And so what we're going to see is we'll see a zone of inhibition, and depending on where that zone of inhibition ends, we will be able to determine the MIC. But all that will make more sense when we skip forward to tomorrow after our 24-hour incubation. And you can see the plate all grow up. So I'll put this in the incubator, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll read the result. Okay, so we're back the next day. It's been 24 hours since we last incubated our plate, and as you can see around here, we've got a nice lawn covering most of the plate with a small zone of inhibition around our MIC strip, and that's because the MIC strip has been leaching antibiotics into the medium, causing there to be a concentration gradient in the medium as well. So if we look at our zone of inhibition, it's obviously quite wide up here, and that's because the antibiotic concentration is greatest up here at 256 micrograms per mil. And as we travel down the strip, we can see that the zone of inhibition starts to taper off as the antibiotic concentration becomes less and less. And what we're looking for is the point at which the zone of inhibition actually comes into contact with the strip, and that for this brand of strips is going to tell us what the MIC is for E. coli. So if we follow the zone of inhibition down to where it touches the strip, we can see here, I'll use this loop to point that it stops at 4 micrograms per mil, and so in this case we can conclude that our MIC for ampicillin against E. coli is about 4 micrograms per milliliter. So that'll conclude this video. Make sure to come back and join us next week when we talk all about the significance of various molds in foods.